am back. Sorry I've been away for a little bit. Everything's been a bit crazy and stressful lately with work and everything. But I wanted to share the filling of my fall junk journal. I have 3 videos that I'll have in this little part of the series, filling the journal with the different pockets and things that I've made. So I have some ephemera that's already been made, and then I'll be filling it with those things throughout these 3 parts. But I also have a few more pieces that I'm making, like I am doing right here, to add to the journals as well. So there are 2 journals. And for this part that I'm doing now, I am just making some pockets that will go in the 2 different journals. And what I'm going to do with these pockets is that I'm going to put them on the matching pages. So for instance, this is the bottom part of pages that are already in the journal. And so I'm going to stick these on those same pages because I kind of like how it blends in, and then you can make that into a pocket. So at first I am going to snip a hole in these so you can kind of see that it's a pocket, and I will ink it, but then later on I decided that I really didn't like the separation with the ink, so I will end up snipping off the part that I inked and just keep it simple and blending in with the page. So here is where I'm kind of contemplating what I want to do, and if I like that line. I decided that having that inked line was just too distracting, even though you kind of can see that there was a pocket there a bit better. I just thought in the end not having it inked looked better. So I'm going to flip through this and find the other page that matches that pumpkin, and I'm going to stick that one there. And so what I ended up doing to make these pockets, they weren't supposed to be pockets originally. Like I said, this is just pages printed that I put on like a heavier cardstock. And so I ended up just scoring a little score line around each of the 3 sides. And then I just snipped out the corners to give it a finished look and also to keep the bulk from being not too bad. So you saw that at the very beginning of the video where I was kind of snipping the corners and snipping the top edge. And that just makes a nicer finished look. And then see here I'm gluing the edges, and then I will just make sure this fits in. And I'm just making sure I'm careful in lining up all the lines and images with the page that's below. And then there's the little pocket, just using my little bone folder to make sure everything is good and nothing is stuck down where it's not supposed to be. Just trimming off a little bit more, was still kind of overlapping, kind of funny. And then I'm just going to use some glue here and glue down this page. I really like how these pockets look. It is nice because that adds another place to store things, but it doesn't add like extra stuff, like distraction, I guess, because it does match the page. This one I thought was a little bit too tall, so I am going to move it. It was kind of distracting because it was kind of close up by those words. So I am just going to adjust it just a bit more. I don't remember if I end up trimming it off a little bit or not. I think I just keep it like this. And I really like how that looks. So there I have 2 pockets now. Then I'm going to work on pockets for this one. So I have 2 more of the same, and I'm just going to do the exact same thing on this notebook here. All right, and then I am just now finishing things off. I forgot to snip out the circles on this other notebook, so I'm doing it afterwards. Not ideal, but it ends up working okay. So you can see here I'm just adding those in, and now the other journal is finished. Now I'm going to be working on a little flip that's like a little notebook. So I'm just looking around on my journal to try to find out where I want to put this. And these are just scrap pieces of paper. I have some tea-dyed paper. I have some of that, like a masking paper that you can get in the paint department. I think I might have some other tea-dyed papers in there. And this is just another page that was printed on a heavier cardstock, and I'm trimming it down and I'm matching it up with a page that it goes with in the journal. Again, I just want kind of like a seamless look. So I am going to fold over the top edge of this and then make a little notebook with these little scrap pieces of paper, and it'll just be a little flip up. And again, just adding some more fun elements in the notebook so it's not just a really flat notebook. And I'm just going to line everything up here. I am going to kind of stagger things around in this little notebook, kind of putting things at different parts of the page. You can see here that they're not all the right, or it's not the right size, the same size. So I'm just kind of staggering them around, seeing how they look good, and then I will trim off anything that overhangs. And once I get what I like, I will just sew that down on my sewing machine, and then I'll trim off the edges. And then I'll end up gluing that down to the top part of the page, and it'll be a cute little flip where you can add extra journaling. And so that's nice too, because this page here obviously has a lot of kind of like journaling on it already as far as the digital printout. So this will just add more places for you to add writing on these pages that are obviously already pretty embellished. So I'm going to do the same thing for the other journal. This time, I think I probably mentioned this in other videos, but I am working on two journals at the same time, which actually I've never done before, and I think I need to start doing it again because it probably takes me less time to do two journals at the same time than to do two separate journals, just because you can kind of use the same collection. If you print extra, this collection, I just got a lot of embellishments and things in it, so it let me make two different journals at the same time. So I think I definitely need to do that in the future and work on two at the same time to get more bang for my buck. So I'm going to do the exact same thing here. I'm just folding it down. I have a bunch of scrap pieces of paper. I am going to kind of offset different things. This one's like a little notebook piece of paper that's tea stained. This is lighter tea stained. I think that paper I'm putting in now might be a notebook as paper as well, where when I did the tea staining, the lines in the notebook paper faded away. And I'm just going to sew the top there like I did on the last one, doing a zigzag stitch this time, just making sure everything's going to fold up, and then I will trim off the excess. And I really think these are cute. I haven't actually made any of these, I don't think, for some of my more recent journals, but I do like how this looks, and I like that it adds extra writing space. You know, with some of these journals, we do a lot of embellishing on a lot of the pages, so it doesn't leave as much room for journaling. So adding pieces like this really allows for extra space to get some more of that extra journaling space in these notebooks that are more heavily decorated. So just using some little clips to make sure that everything is going to hold on, because I do have kind of a bulky, embellishment here, or whatever you want to call it, little notebook thing here. So I want to make sure that that glue adheres and stays. So I'm just using some of these clippies. Now I have some ephemera that I've already created, so I am just going to go through and flip through to find out where these things should go. So just kind of playing with it, you can see I have a huge stack here. These are just cards that have been inked around the edges. I didn't really do any embellishment on some of these because I don't think you need to embellish all the pieces. So you can use a lot of like the little note cards and things like that around in the book without actually having to add anything to them. Just a little ink around the edges makes them great. In other cases, I do want to add a little bit more to them. This card was really cute, but I thought it needed to be a bit bigger for the pocket I wanted to put it in. So I'm going to take some of this tea stained paper and make a tag. And then this will just make the thing, not the thing, but the embellishment a bit bigger and then fit in this pocket and not be buried because the pocket is pretty deep. So this little tag that I'm making will allow for you to be able to see the top and pull it out of that deeper pocket. So I'm just using this as a template to cut my tag shape because I wanted it to be a nice wide tag. And so I'm going to ink around the edges, glue this little girl down. She's harvesting pumpkins. And I am going to do a little bit of collage on this. Some of that green masking paper will look really nice because of the greens that are in the little card. So I'm just ripping that down to give a more organic edge to it. And this will just kind of anchor the card so it doesn't look like it's floating quite as much on the tag. So I'll just use a glue stick to glue that down here in a little bit. And then I'm just looking through these papers to see if there's something else I want to add. I do like the pop of orange here. I think that also brings out the orange in the tag, so I'm going to ink around that and then glue that down as well. I like how this tag's turning out. So once I kind of fiddle with this and get it in the place I want, I'm just gluing everything down using some of my Beacon 3-in-1 glue. And of course it's clogged a little bit, so I'm messing with that. Once I get it unclogged, I will glue the rest of the parts down. I really like this glue. I can't remember, I probably mentioned it before in other videos. I need to get some acetone. I think that will thin out the glue. It just seems to get pretty sticky and thick in this bottle, no matter what I do. Even if I keep it in the Beacon 3-in-1 original bottle, it still gets thick and goopy. So I think I just need to buy some acetone so that when it starts getting, you know, goopier, the acetone might kind of break it up and thin it out again. I don't know. Has anybody ever tried that before with this glue? I thought I'd heard that on a video one time that someone did that and it worked pretty well. I just never purchased any of the acetone. So if you have any suggestions for that glue, I'd really appreciate it. I love using those Sugar Belle bottles. They work much better than the Beacon original bottles, but I still have the issue of it kind of clogging on me and, you know, getting really, you know, sticky and thick in those bottles. So now I'm working on the back of the tag. I pulled out a little bit of dictionary paper, just tore that down and trying to figure out what else I want to put on here. I think I'm going to end up making a little pocket, like a little side tuck pocket on this one. So I'll just glue down 3 of the sides and then I'll be able to tuck some of these little journaling cards that came in the digital kit nicely in there. And then that way you can pull that little card out and journal on it as well. So here's some more paper from the kit that I'm just tearing down. that dictionary paper is pretty thin, so I can't just use that as a pocket or it's just going to probably rip. So I'm just reinforcing it with some extra paper to make it just a bit more strong. Inking around the edges with my vintage photo. And then I'm going to glue that down, and then I'm going to make this into a little pocket. And I think that's cute, just a little bit more interactive piece to it. This is just my Yoo-Hoo glue. I'm going to use that to glue down the paper, and then like I said, I will glue down 3 of the sides with my liquid glue. Now I'm just trying to find something else to embellish it a bit more. Again, this just adds a bit more strength to the pocket, and it just adds something a little cute. So I'm adding a little circle, and then here I'm going to add the glue around the 3 sides. And the beacon glue too, like I've said before in other videos, it doesn't make the paper buckle, and especially with those thinner papers like the dictionary paper, it works really, really nicely, and it keeps the paper from buckling like it would if you use like more of a liquid glue. So here's a cute little pocket that I had constructed previously, and just some tags and journaling pieces that came in the kit that I inked around. For this one, I am going to glue on 3 sides. I don't believe I put anything behind the pocket, but it does allow for you to add something or tuck something behind, like maybe you have some ephemera or a letter or something that you received. It's all for part 1. Stay tuned for part 2. Will be up probably this week or next. Thanks for coming by. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.